Welcome to the Unstoppable Pursuit podcast, where we're pushing the limits in business, life, and health. It's episode 33, and today we're talking about the 8 rules to kick ass in life, or what we think are the 8 rules to kick ass in life. I'm Brian Benson, and next to me, well, he drove me home on his bachelor party, Mike Stahl, and he wrote a book called Dominate Your Day, and he's going to dominate your day right now. Check it out, his website, michaelstahl.com. You can get it for $19.95. Thank you.
That's so funny. Dreaming is part of the process, but it's not until you actually start doing and putting those things into action that things actually start to come to fruition. There are 2 things we could all benefit from: better health and positive motivation. You need to have a game plan and relentlessly attack it. Today you are going to be better. Have confidence in yourself, believe in yourself, and serve as many people as possible. Rather than blending into society and accepting status quo, I hope you are inspired to embrace your individuality and talents and go after what it is you truly want in life. You should be competing against you. Do not compare yourself to others. If you are seeking the approval of others, stop. It's about who you are and what drives you inside. If you feel you are different, that's something you need to hold on to. If you want to be like the other 99% of people, then do what they do. Accept what they do. But if you want to do epic things in your personal life, embrace risk and intuition. Playing it safe is for the masses. As an entrepreneur, you are not to play it safe. Calculated risk.
Calculated risk. I love it. The very first part of that I really enjoyed too is like, you got to be a doer. Like, you just have to go do rather than sit there. You have to take action. I mean, at the end of the day, it's like, why not you? Why not you? Why shouldn't you live your dreams? Why shouldn't you be a millionaire? Why shouldn't you have a great business? You can. It's just taking action.
Right. Yeah, and it all starts with dreaming. You have to dream, and you have to have that creative ability, and you have to have that need to want something more, but you can only dream so much before you actually, again, like the book says, you have to put it into action or it's never going to come to fruition.
Yeah, and I'm reading a book by Seth Godin right now, and it's called What to Do When It's Your Turn, and It's Always Your Turn, and he talks about daydreaming, and he says, stop daydreaming about things that aren't possible. Like, don't daydream about you being a superhero. Don't daydream about just crazy things. Daydream about the things that you want. Daydream about you being a millionaire. Daydream about you owning a multi-million-dollar business. Daydream about you doing things that are actually possible. Don't daydream about, I'm going to win the lottery. Maybe it is obviously possible, but it's like 1 in a trillion. So why not daydream about things that you can actually control and come to fruition?
So there is such thing as unrealistic thinking or unrealistic dreaming, and the fact that you're not going to become a superhero.
Yeah, you're not. I'm not going to be a pro basketball player, so why should I daydream about it?
There you go. Yeah, but you can become a multimillionaire through hard work.
Hell yeah, I think anybody can be a millionaire.
So there you go. So on this particular podcast, number 33, which is after the famous Scottie Pippen. Okay, I always try to think of someone famous that has a number
33,
for our podcast.
Pippen.
Scottie Pippen, who was the greatest number 2 ever to play the game, to number 1, of course, which is Michael Jordan. Nobody really remembers number 2, unfortunately.
No, sorry, Scottie, but we love you.
The 8 rules to kick ass in life. Number 1, see failure as a beginning, not as an end.
So true, and we've talked about this millions of times, but this is the biggest thing you need to do is fail. You need to fail forward. It's the learning experience. You need to push yourself through those failures. The only way you will succeed is if you fail. Plain and simple. You have to fail your way to success. Thomas Edison and he, when he created the light bulb, what did he do? Fail 999 times or something like that, but on the 1,000th he created the light bulb. So, but you know what? Along those ways, he definitely came up with other ideas. He also owns I forget what it is, but it's like 4,000 patents. But he probably found things that came from some of the failures.
Yeah.
So failures are actually the only way that you will get to where you want to be. You have to fail.
Yeah, and the most influential people that you can think of that inspire you would not be your inspiration had they given up when they failed.
Yeah.
Because if they truly looked at their first failure as an end, well, then they would have never failed 10 times before the 11th time of actually hitting the jackpot and seeing their product or their service or whatever come to fruition. So again, like what you said, failing forward, failure And we talked about what, in an earlier podcast, that failure technically is not failure. It's like learning.
Yeah.
But like what you said,
Growing.
you're failing forward, you're learning forward, you're growing, you're moving forward as things did not work out, aka failure, and you're getting closer to your goal. So if we truly looked at failure as an end, then we wouldn't even be here. Because I've had so many things in my life that have not worked out the way I wanted them to. But again, it's all about perspective. And that's what this first point about is your perspective.
Yep. If you're going to fail forward. Fail fast and fail forward. And the other thing is, just a really quick other story. There was another guy, and I can't think of his name, but he was actually on like the brink of creating Flight, but he gave up because he couldn't. The plane kept crashing. It kept failing. It kept failing. It kept failing. Well, then eventually he just said, I'm done with it, but if he would have tried a little bit harder, then he may have actually cracked the code. But then guess what? A year or two later, the Wright brothers come along.
Yeah.
Nobody remembers that guy because he gave up. But
Yeah.
he could have done it if he would have just spent a little bit more time on it. That's all.
That's a great story too. And and before we go to the second point, there is a picture, and I've sent it to Brian before, maybe posted on social media, and it's of two guys underground and they're digging. They're like miners, and it shows the top guy is like a couple inches away from striking all the jewels, but he's pissed off, and the picture shows him turning around going backwards. The guy below him is still digging. Obviously the guy below him is not going to give up. He's going to hit that, So the difference between failure and like epic success could be a very thin line, like as your story.
Completely.
You know what I mean?
100%. I said it again.
Don't worry about it. I wouldn't even notice it.
But I'm aware now. Okay.
That's so funny.
Number 2, if you don't go after it, you won't have it.
The worst thing is regret. And that's one thing that I don't want to have. I know Brian's spilling water all over us. Brian's shooting himself in the eye with his water if you're watching us on YouTube right now. But you don't want to have regret. I can guarantee that majority of people at the end or towards the latter half of their life, if you ask them, they would probably say they are more, concerned and upset about the things that they did not try than the things that they actually did try. Even if a lot of those things were failures or, learning lessons. I don't want to have regrets. I want to leave everything on the table. It's just like, for example, a basketball game. You want to play out your heart and soul. At the end of the game, you should be exhausted and say that you gave it your best effort. Even if you lost, losing is not okay. You don't want to lose, but, like Michael Jordan said, he goes, I can accept losing or failing, but I will not accept not trying. And that's the key take home here for me, is that there is nothing worse than regret.
I 100,000% agree with that. You never want to go to the grave with regret. But why don't people try? Why don't people go after it? 3 things. Maybe there's more, but 3 things that come to my head are rejection, fear, and failure. There is the whole umbrella is fear. It is more painful to have the fear of embarrassment, people laughing at you, people telling you your idea is stupid, being rejected, not doing it. And therefore, you think of those things, your lizard brain, the thing that tells you can't do it, and you think your fear it becomes so great that you say, I'm comfortable not trying something new or not going after my dreams, because what if I go after them and I fail? Well then, so what? So what if you fail? That's part of life. At least you're doing it. 99.9% of people are sitting on their ass afraid to do it. But if you actually do it, you will surprise yourself. I can promise you, it will change your life. People have unbelievable swimming abilities, but they just don't know it. Mm-hmm. They don't try. They don't go after it, but you have to go after it. You have to learn how to dance with fear, because fear is going to exist in anything that you do. It's going to be scary, but the people who actually do it and try are always come out on top, always. Yeah. If anybody, and not even sports people, I'm thinking of like actors and musicians. If Dave Matthews didn't get on stage and call himself Dave Matthews Band and play and try. Yeah, it was scary, but could he have been booed off stage? Of course. Like, I can tell you the amount of comedians that were laughed off stage. Jim Carrey was literally laughed off stage his first time, not like laughing at him, like booing, laughing, like, you are not good, you are terrible. But if he would have given up, guess what? He would have been probably where his dad ended up, who didn't try, got fired from his job, and just was an unhappy person. Like, you need to try. You have to go after it. If you don't, you will regret it. And like Mike said, no regrets, man. This is it.
And it's hard for me to kind of top that, but the two things I want to add to that is, if we were to put this into the perspective of health and wellness, say you're out of shape and you're very fearful of going to the gym and afraid of what people are going to think, you are literally putting your health in other people's hands.
I know.
And you need to hold yourself accountable and not be afraid of what people are going to think for you going into the gym. Let's say you're, 250 pounds and you want to get down to 190. That's your personal thing. That's your personal goal. It has nothing to do with anyone else. You need to not be fearful of what other people are going to think and deter you from reaching those goals. And the other thing I wanted to add to that is, it's funny what you just said, Brian, with the fear of the failure. I just watched a video from Eric Thomas, who's a great motivational speaker, and he was saying that for people that have fear, your vision in your head of your successful self needs to far outweigh and be more desirable than what that fear is working on you.
Yeah.
Like in the morning, like he said, like when the alarm goes off and you want to hit that snooze button, you need to think about how it would feel to actually be your successful self, and that has to drive you more than the power that you feeling tired and like your alarm basically wants you to hit the snooze button.
Yeah.
So you got to almost like visualize yourself in the future of what it would be like to be your better self, so that it outweighs the fear.
Yeah, oh God, I could go into that forever. That's such a great point though, Mike. And you and I talked about that, living in that alternate like universe in your head of, I'm already there, now we just have to, the story's written, now we just have to go live it.
Yeah, you need to speak positivity over yourself. Like, like my wife Lindsay says it all the time. She's like, your words have power, and you need to, and it's funny too. DJ Khaled, everyone always laughs about him. But I encourage you guys, if you're listening or watching, follow DJ Khaled on Snapchat. I watch his entire Snap story every night before you go to bed. You want to talk about someone that speaks positively over himself?
Oh, yeah.
It's unbelievable.
All the
he
time.
walks out in his backyard and he's like, I'm winning. He's like, look at these flowers. It's beautiful. He's like, I feel the sun. He goes, I'm a winner. And then he's looking at his baby and he goes, I love you. He goes, you're a winner. You're a boss. And he just constantly is speaking positive vibes. And of course, he's crushing it. Like, you need to watch what you say over yourself. And I'm still work in progress on that too. But, your words have power. So don't forget that.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, the next point. Always do more than is expected of you.
I mean, how can you ever go wrong when you go above and beyond,
Exactly.
About things? If you don't go above and beyond in your life, then you're just accepting mediocrity and you're accepting the status quo, I don't care what you're doing. I don't care if it's cleaning your frickin' house. I don't care if it's you're picking up after somebody else or something. Like, you have to go above and beyond. It's going to only teach you and ingrain hard work in you. And when you go above and beyond, you will surprise yourself. The things that will happen, the things that will come into your life. I'm telling you, you will start to see great things coming into your life more and more when you actually go above and beyond. It's weird, but the harder you work, the more luck you will get.
Yep. And if you watched or listened to our previous podcast, go to our Instagram page, because we screenshot the quote and it says, in order to be extraordinary, you need to do the ordinary things day in and day out, every single day to the best of your ability. And a perfect example of someone that says this is Andy Frisilla, owner of First Form. He said, I don't care what it is, but if you want to do everything that everyone else is doing the same way they're going to do it, then you're on a level playing field. But he's like, if you want to go above and beyond, if you're mowing your lawn, you better have straighter lines on that grass than the next dude. If you're doing mulch, you better have that shit trimmed around the edges with that mulch perfectly on there. Like, it doesn't matter if you're scooping up dead animals on the side of the road, and that's your job to pick up roadkill, then do it to the best of your ability. You know what I mean? If you're cleaning toilets, it doesn't matter what level you're on. But if you're going to do it the same way everyone else is doing it, and you're not going above and beyond in customer service, well then, you're no different than them. That's a pretty basic concept.
Yeah. I agree. You have to, and this is actually, you just kind of like sparked something in my brain, because I talked to one of my friends. He's like 35, he's super successful, already exited like 2 companies. But when I first like met with him, I remember him asking me like some questions, and we talked about like, hey, do you like to, do you go above and beyond at work? Like, how do you feel? Yeah, I'm super passionate. I work really hard. He goes, how's your car? Is your car super clean? How's your house? Is your house super clean? Because the way you live there will also determine how you act out there in the world, in the business place, wherever you are. Like, it really, really does. Like, you have to live that above and beyond lifestyle, not just at one segment of your life. If you're gonna do it, commit and go all the way. Do it at your house, do it in your personal life, do it in your business, whatever it is, but go above and beyond.
I love that. And it's interesting too, because with that, I feel better when I do that stuff. Like at home, like when my place is clean, and my bed's perfectly made, and my truck's clean, like you just feel good, which makes you want to do better. And it does. It trickles over into other areas of your life. I think that's an awesome point on that one.
Thank you. All right, next one is assume nothing.
Question everything. I got bad handwriting.
You got bad handwriting. Assume nothing and question everything.
They say that when you assume, you make an ass out of you and me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's true.
I like that.
We talked about this before. Like, when you assume all the time, you're not really getting the facts. You're not seeing the whole perspective on things. But the part that I kind of want to focus on is questioning everything. Like Brian and I, we question each other a lot in business to bring different perspectives and different visions. And we don't want to be in a room full of yes people that everything and we don't even say yes to each other all the time, but you don't want to be in a room where it's just people are agreeing with you all the time. You need people in yourself questioning things. Like when you assume and you just accept things as is, then you're kind of just accepting status quo. I think that a lot of times, like ideas and different things like that, I think after you question things and you're brainstorming and you're doing like masterminds like what you do, I think that's where you start to really dig deep, and ideas and visions start to come out, different perspectives and just different things that will enhance it,
No, I agree. And it's funny because I interview a lot of CEOs and entrepreneurs, but I want to go to like the CEO level right now and like the corporate side of things, because I've asked a lot of people, the former CEO of Brinks, the former CEO of Haagen-Dazs, the former CEO of Pillsbury and Ocean Spray and Train and some of these other big companies, Fortune 500 companies, and I always ask this question. I say, what made you different? When you joined the company, and maybe you joined with 2 or 3 other people, why did you become the CEO and maybe that other person never even grew up the ladder? And they've all said pretty much the same thing, as they like continue questioning why certain things are the way they are. They question the status quo. Why are we delivering products this way? Why are we doing this? Oh, couldn't we try this? Or why does it have to be this way? Isn't there a better way to do it? And that causes change, that causes ingenuity, that causes innovation within companies. And now you're an innovator, and now you're somebody who's valuable. Now you're a linchpin, and now you're going to grow to the top. But if you don't question, you just, like Mike said, sit there and assume and say, well, I assume this is just how they do this and that's the way it's going to be, and not do anything, you won't grow. You won't grow in your company, you won't grow a business, you won't grow in your life, because you will just allow mediocrity to sit with you, and that should not be okay. That should not be okay.
And it's interesting you say this now, because this is what you told me earlier in the week when you were reading the book, and you were saying that typically it's the misfits that are the ones that are asking questions and kind of like disrupting and thinking outside the box that are actually the ones that do not end up accepting status quo, and therefore they end up doing very special things.
Yeah.
They end up inducing change, and they end up growing personally, and they probably end up growing in their career and moving up the ladder if they're at a company, or They're successful on their own too. The health twist on this, because I still want to work health and wellness into these, is for assume nothing and question everything. You know, one of the biggest mistakes you can do is go into a gym and just do what everyone else is doing, you know, and they call that bro science. Like, when I first went into the gym, I saw dudes that were doing stuff, and I just automatically assumed, well, that dude's muscular, so I'm going to do what he does. In some cases that does work, but a lot of times you'll see the people doing things wrong in the gym. A lot of beginners go into the gym and they just assume that they're going to follow what everyone else is doing, and it's like, exercise is not a one-size-fits-all type of thing. You need to have a personalized approach to health and wellness, specifically to your goals, to your body, to your health and wellness background. Just like in business, like what you do in business may not work for the next person. You know, like Gary Vee can pump out 16-hour days. I probably could, but I don't think long term that would be effective for me. Mm-hmm. Michael tends to get a little bitchy and whiny when he doesn't get his 8 hours of sleep. You know what I mean? But
wait till you have kids.
You know, yeah, exactly. I know. It's not a one-size-fits-all for health and wellness. So, you know, going into the gym or starting a health and fitness plan, don't assume that just, you know, you're going to go in and follow what everyone else is doing. Like, hire a coach or do some research and figure out what would possibly work best for you. Yeah,
it's a personal thing, but I'm telling you right now, the people who don't question, the assumers are replaceable. Be irreplaceable and be somebody who questions.
Yeah, if you're going to be assuming all the time, then you're just going to blend in, and you're going to be an average Joe, and you're probably going to get passed over for promotions and
you will
live a mediocre life.
Hey, you're replaceable. Be irreplaceable.
Next point: make peace with the past, or you'll end up paying for it.
You know, and we've talked about this in so many podcasts and so many segments, but you know, again, and I'll just say it, like, you know, the past is really, you have to allow yourself to just say it happened, was then, and I can change that and move forward. Because again, like, I mean, this is probably like from AA or something, but they have this whole idea of like, I can't control, you know, for the things I can't control, like, you can't control the past.
Right.
You can't be upset about it. You can't do anything.
It's already been written.
It's already done. It landed there. That's what happened. You made a mistake. You learn and move on. I mean, I don't know, like, if you have like anything else to say on this. Because I don't want to keep beating it over the head.
Right.
But I think people have to just allow things. If you continuously say, "Oh man, I wish I could have done this," or "I wish I would have done that," it's like, no, like, wish for the future. Stop, you know, wish for new things, because you can't change the past. It's gone.
Yeah. And I'm guilty of this. I'm guilty of holding on to things from the past, and I'm still a work in progress on this, but I think the more time goes on, I am learning that a huge part of the definition of success, of what I personally think is, in any aspect of your life, is learning to focus on the things that you can control and letting go of the things that you can't, like what you said. And it's a control thing. We all have a little bit of a control freak in us.
Yeah.
If you're a perfectionist or you have a burning desire to succeed, like what we do, and I'm sure those that are watching and listening, you feel the same way. But for me, I have to learn and remind myself that it's not a sign of weakness to let go of things that I can't control. It's more coming from a position of strength, that I have strength over my mind to say, I can't control this, so I'm going to let it be, but there's some other things that I really can control, and I'm going to put forth a massive effort on that. That's a struggle for me, but I'm working on that. But I think that the better you can master that, the better your chances of success, I think, personally.
I agree. All right, the next one is stop thinking so much and start acting. Woo!
I mean, this kind of goes with the previous one for me. I think that, you know, being a perfectionist, you can be an overanalyzer. Like my mom would say, Michael, stop overanalyzing and thinking so much about things. You're just thinking way too much about it. And I think it's important to think and strategize and ponder. But I'm also realizing again that a huge part of this whole thing of what we call success is taking action, because again, like, you know, you can only talk so much and think so much about something before you actually have to start doing it.
Yeah.
You know, Andy Frisella's famous line is, do the fucking work.
Yeah.
That's what he says, you know, and so you have to do the work.
No, I mean...
100%, Brian, 100%.
Excuse me, yes, 100%. I just burped. Anyway, the reality is, and you kind of said it really well there, Mike, is that overanalyzing things. When you think too much, you allow mind creep, lizard brain, imposter syndrome, all those things to come in and start giving you negative thoughts. Like, if you know you need to take action on something that you really want, like, just go do it and think later. It's kind of like shoot first, aim later kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Start blasting rounds.
There's a book called Ready, Fire, Aim, and that's what it's all about. It's like, hey, look, get ready, shoot. Okay, look, if it starts going off course, aim it later. You know,
yeah.
But you need to fire, because if you don't, somebody else will, and you will never achieve what you want in your life. And that's what I like fear for people and fear for myself, you know, is like, oh my God, if I allow myself to overthink, what if people don't like me, or oh, what if it doesn't go well, or oh, what if people think it's stupid, or what if I get rejected? I can't think about those things. If that happens, I can fix it later, like, or I don't even need to fix it some of the time. Mm-hmm. But I can't allow myself to overthink things. If I have to move my life forward, and I have to continuously do, the more action you take, the more success you will see.
Yeah, step one is saying, I want to be a successful such and such. Step two, what are you going to do about it?
Yeah.
Like, step two is like action. Like, what are you going to do about it? It's not good enough to say, I want to be a successful insurance salesman. That's great. Now, how are you going to sell that insurance? What are you going to do? Okay?
Yeah. Doing is so much more than saying. You know, you got to take action.
We're closing in here on the last two. Never compare yourself to others, Brian.
Oh gosh, I compare my muscles to Mike every day, and
Brian, you will never be me.
No, I not.
And I'll never be you, which is a great teaching point.
It is.
Yin and yang, brother. Blood brothers.
Berg dudes.
Bash bros.
Bash brothers. You know, compare-itis, it's just like a sick disease, right? You know, it's
and
just
we've both done it.
Oh my God!
A lot more in the past than we do now, though.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, we've had to learn. We've had to fail and learn, because the more I compared myself to people, and I kept saying, well, why am I not there yet? Well, why aren't I as great as this person, or why don't I have as much money as that person? You know, and I started like comparing what I'm doing, and I thought, that is just the more I compared, the more it became an excuse not to do things, because I started saying, well, I'm not going to get there, or I'm not there yet. Like, I kept saying things like, I should be there, but I'm not there. And then it would bother me, and then I maybe would quit or something, because you're just like, oh, well, I'm not there in like 6 months. Like, oh, sorry, we don't have a top freaking podcast on iTunes yet, but I can't compare myself to others who maybe have been doing it a lot longer. You know?
It opens up the window of doubt.
Yeah. Oh, no.
It opens up the window of doubt, and it almost like kind of puts a little bit of negativity into the equation. You know, like you're comparing yourself. It's not comparing apples to apples. You're comparing yourself to someone that's totally different and may think totally different, maybe in a different industry. You know, but you have to have the accountability to yourself. You need to put in the work. Mm-hmm. And again, like I said, like Brian and I know, because we've talked about this before, that early on, I mean, I compared myself to every single person in the health and wellness industry. Even physically, like, geez, I'm not as big and as ripped as him, so I won't ever be as successful. But, I mean, that doesn't really mean much. I needed it. Once I started focusing on me, I felt better about things. Now, granted, I'm still not where I want to be, but I don't know. There's just, you know, comparing yourself to others, it's just such a waste of freaking time. If you're listening to us, please take this advice. It's just not worth it. It's such a waste of time. It's going to make you feel sorry for yourself. You're going to start making excuses like what you said. Like, you know, if you compare yourself to the most successful person in the industry, yeah, you're setting the bar very high, but then the next thing that's going to come out of your mouth is, Well, I'm not even there yet.
Yeah, or I'll never get there.
Yeah, or I'll never get there. And there again, you're throwing the doubt out there again, you know?
Yeah. Those are bullshit excuses that you need to take out of your vocabulary and just move on. Just take action. All right, number 8, the last one is teach others what you know.
This is what we're doing with our podcast. This is the reason why we started the Unstoppable Pursuit podcast, because we don't know everything. We're just sharing our personal experience, and we're trying to be as transparent as possible. And it's like an online diary, online journal. I found that when we talk about it out loud, I try to listen to what I'm saying, and I'm listening to what you're saying. So our idea here is to pay it forward to you guys, that maybe you could learn from some of our mistakes. And a lot of the content that we do provide you is from the most successful people in the world, So we really are trying to teach you guys and educate you and kind of have an open roundtable here. If there's things that you guys want us to talk about, drop it in the comment section on our Facebook Lives. Let us know, because we want to provide you with things that you guys feel are of benefit.
Yeah, I agree, man. And I always say this, and I'll say it again, is ILT, invest, learn, teach. You are being selfish if you do not teach what you know. And please don't deprive us or anyone else from that. It's definitely worth it. So that's kind of all I really had to add on that. So now into the challenge. And, just reading these rules, I really got inspired by assume nothing and question everything. So your challenge now is, if things aren't working out, if something at your job isn't the way it's supposed to be, if you think there's a better solution for things, start questioning and stop just saying, oh, that it is because it is. There has to be another way. So start questioning those things. Just start questioning things. Question things that you may not have in the past, because I think it'll just help you in business life and health.
And if you're still living in your parents' basement at home and mom makes meatloaf, even question mom. Mom, why meatloaf?
Yeah, why meatloaf, Mom?
Why, Mom? Why not chicken breasts? Question everything. And the health tip for me on this segment, it's kind of a challenge as well. I think that it's important to go into the gym and have a plan. So my challenge and my tip is to, heading into your workouts, like do a little research and go online, or buy an ebook, or whatever the case may be. Hire a coach and have your workouts written out, or typed out on your phone, saved as a note or something like that, and go in with a game plan instead of going into the gym and just winging it. I do this for myself. Sometimes I go in the gym and I just kind of throw a workout together, but I've noticed that when I have something like on my phone, or I screenshot something off of Instagram, I'll follow some other trainers' workouts that they post. Like, I absolutely crush it in the gym, and I feel really good about it. My rest periods are very short, and I'm kind of just like a well-oiled machine. So my challenge to you is, start having somewhat of a game plan going into the gym, and stick to it, and you'll notice that you feel better and you feel more efficient.
Yeah, I think the game plan kind of also holds you accountable too before
totally.
You go in there. Because if you go in there without kind of a plan, and I've done that, I'm like, oh, I guess I'll try this machine, and then it's like I just don't feel like the workout's as good. I feel like it helps you focus, It's
like going in the gym and you have no GPS. It's like you fly to a foreign country and you don't have a GPS, and you're like, oh, I'll just figure it out. Which is okay, and some people are good at that, but it's awesome to have a game plan and going to the gym and crush it.
Yeah.
Check off your exercises, keep your rest periods down, and get out of there. You shouldn't have to be in the gym for 2 hours a day when you can get in an awesome workout in 45 minutes, maybe an hour.
Yeah, 100%.
100%, y'all.
Hey.
Hashtag 100%.
Hashtag 100%. We are the Unstoppable Pursuit Podcast. Join us. Comment, like, share. Please subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes. Thank you, Facebook. Thank you, YouTube. Thank you, Instagram. Thank you, podcasters. Please continue to support us. We are so grateful for your ears and your eyeballs. Please subscribe, rate, and review, and we will see you all on the next episode.